Hi, welcome to the Mom Files, Moments of Motherhood podcast, a place where the hard things have room to exist without shame.
If you're a mom, you'll get realistic routines, gentle validation, and encouragement to try new things. We're here to be your village, a judgment-free zone for modern motherhood. Take what fits for you and leave the rest.
We're happy you're here. Let's jump in. Welcome back to the Mom Files. I'm Hav.
And I'm Aleea.
And today we're going to dive into the hard balance of being a work-from-home mom. We're going to talk about a lot of things with the differences between working from home and having your child with you. And we're going to discuss, do you ever feel like working from home means failing at both your job or your role as a mom? And I know we both have for sure. It kind of ebbs and flows, but it's a pretty constant thing that we face. So let's talk about it. And I can kind of go into a little bit from my end, just real quick. I know for me, there's been phases where I feel like I'm doing an amazing job. There's phases where I feel like I'm doing absolutely a horrible job. But I think the gist of it is if I feel like I'm giving 100% to work, I can't give 100% to my child and vice versa. So how do we kind of find a middle ground, or how do we learn to kind of cope with the difficulty of doing it all?
Yeah. I definitely feel like I'm constantly failing at both, but I think a big part of it is that double standard for moms in general, and obviously work from home moms too. I feel like it's a big weight for them too, because you are always on when you're at home, whether it's working, household stuff, kids. It's just, there's this unspoken expectations that moms handle the household stuff. And that's obviously not everybody, but it is where it just seems like moms, it's just a default for them to take over the things because, and I think maybe it is too, it's like we talked about a long time ago, because you are with them more.
Right.
So it just happens to default. But I know for me, it's so easy to take control of everything, the appointments, planning, anything, doing learning stuff, just taking on the kids, but also taking on your workload. I know for me, especially, I've said before, I am a recovering people pleaser, but there's areas that I struggle with. I'm still not perfect. And I have a hard time saying no at work. So I will definitely take on more than intended or that I can handle. And then I'm like, oh, I'll also do that at home. And so I just feel like I'm drowning. But I do think that double standard kind of plays a role because I feel like I have to take on certain things, even though that might not be the case.
Right. No, I totally agree. And I think even if you're in a household where you don't have that, I'm the woman, so I do this or whatever. I know you and I aren't in those super strict relationships where you're the man and you do the man things and I'm the woman and I do the woman things. Society plays a big role in that. But I think working from home in general, I know, Aleea, you and I both worked from home long before we had our babies. And I know for me, turning work off, so hard. But then also being in the house where you see clutter or dirty dishes, things like that, it was really hard for me before Azzy to be like, okay, I'm home all the time, but there's a mess all the time, but be okay with it not being my responsibility. I always felt like, okay, well, if I'm not working, then I should be cleaning or I should be doing something to get things done. And then of course you add in your child, and I know you and I are very much so, we want our children to learn and have fun with them and honestly be a stay-at-home mom with them. But we carry a full-time job, and then that's not even bringing in the house chores and the cleaning. And if you're like me, you feel like you have to cook every meal and make bread at home and do all the things. And is that put on myself? A lot of it is, yeah. But there's that pressure because I'm here all the time. I see it. So why can't I do it?
Yeah, 100%. I feel that fully. And I think you made an excellent point that our husbands do pitch in, and some of it is just pressure we put on ourselves because of that societal, whatever. But it is true. I'm it can be so hard to you just feel like you have all this flexibility when you don't. Like, I think a lot of people need to fight this assumption that work from home equals you have free time for everything. Because I know even for me, it's like what you said with the, chores. I even feel guilty, like if my parents stop by in the middle of the day and it seems like I'm not doing anything and like the dishes are there and you're like,
Right.
oh, like I'm home, so I should be able to take care of the cleaning and then still like be able to manage the household while like, but it's just, I think people forget that there are moments when I'm working and I can't, like you just can't do both things at the same time. And so, yeah, it can be really hard to kind of unintentionally pile on all those expectations.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you actually mentioned the external pressure too of like, I do think it's for, especially for people who have never worked from home, it's really hard to comprehend that my mental capacity is still like, I'm not in the office and I don't have people talking to me all the time, but it's still a lot of work. Is your workload different than mine? Are you doing more physical labor? That might be the case, but just because I'm on my laptop, or God forbid, I take 15 minutes to sit down while my child is watching TV and my boss has stopped emailing me, and then you show up at my house, which also, please stop showing up at my house while I'm working.
Please.
Unless like I know please stop showing up at my house.
Yeah, because it's hard.
It's hard because one, I either feel like I have to then prove that I'm working, or like you said, have to be doing cleaning because God forbid I have 15 minutes of free time. But then I also have to entertain you. And then I know I start to feel bad because then I'm like, I can't concentrate with you in my house trying to talk to me. I already deal with Azzy in my ear. It's hard enough. The stimulation is stimulating. But now you're in my house and you're asking me questions or you're calling me and asking me for help because I'm home. So what does it hurt to give me a phone call, right? But like,
yes,
you forget that I have a boss that I report to, or if I'm my own boss, either way, I have people that I have to fulfill like the job duties that are given to me. And then on top of it, for work from home moms who keep their kids, my kid is here all the time. So like, it's not that I don't want to see you. It's just like, can we stick to give me a break? I know for me, I get a lot of those like, oh, hey, if you're not busy today, can you step out and do this? And I'm like, well, no, I'm not. But this is the one day that I'm not busy. Like this would have been the perfect day for me to, this is my brain, clean. Or if I was going to give myself a break, sit down and read or spend one-on-one time with Azzy, which I feel like I don't get to do, which makes me feel like I'm a bad mom because instead of spending one-on-one time with her, I'm working.
Yes. It's so funny because when you were saying that, I think it's so funny how many people think because you're on the computer, that means you can take in what they're saying. I'm like, I need to focus on what I'm doing. I love you so much, but I
Right.
can't, like, I don't know where they think we can, like, just because we're, like, I can't think. Like, if I'm writing an email, I'm like, I'm going to start writing what you're saying because my brain.
Well, I think it's funny because these are the same people who will be on TikTok and can't listen to me talk. Meanwhile, I'm reading somebody's email, computing different time zones, looking at 5 different people's schedules, and you want to talk to me about the birthday party this weekend.
Like, I can't. But I think you make a good point on the guilt too. I do feel guilty, even if Dash is independently playing, if I'm on my computer and stuff, because you're like, oh, we're here, but I'm not present and paying attention to you.
Right.
It almost feels like the phone effect where you feel bad, like you're on your phone. And obviously it's not that, but it's kind of that same vibe where I just feel, I'm like, oh, I feel guilty. And then I feel guilty because everything else that's leading up to, household chores and all of that. So yeah, you make an excellent point.
Side note, does it ever make you feel worse for just full-time stay-at-home moms? Because I feel like if I was a full-time stay-at-home mom and I have the excuse of work, I would feel so guilty for taking any personal time.
100%. And I'd feel very, very guilty if one thing was not clean.
Out of order. Yeah.
Something. Yeah. Like I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this wrong because that in court, but it's like what you said. We should be allowed to have 15 minutes a day where things maybe aren't perfect, especially because at least for Hav and I, our husbands work, we work, but they can come home and not have to worry about those things and take a mental break. So it's
Mhm.
like, why is it we're shamed for wanting
Right.
to take a mental break? It's like we should be allowed, but yeah, stay-at-home moms I feel really bad for because I'm like, you should be allowed to
Right.
have time for yourself.
And we're not saying that our husbands come home and complain to us when things aren't done. At least I
No.
know mine doesn't. He's not like, "Why aren't the dishes done?" It's me. But like I've said before, I'm sitting in it 24/7.
Right.
But yeah, I think it does feel like a double standard, whether it's put on by like the constructs of your actual relationship or if it's what we see,
Right.
like the pressure we feel from outside of the home.
Yeah, because I agree. I've never had my husband come home and be like, ugh. Blah, blah."
What were you doing
Plus,
all day? What was I doing all day? Okay, let me see your TikTok feed, sir.
but I do think it's true. And I think this does kind of tie in to our episode on invisible labor where it is a societal pressure of, you know, the mental load of just trying to manage it all. We have to manage meetings and then we have to manage meals, like you said. And it's not just one meal, it's 3 meals. And then you have to think about household stuff and it all just sneaks in. It sneaks in. And that doesn't mean like anyone specific is putting on you. Maybe you're doing it yourself just because of the way we were raised or things like that. But yeah, it's just so easy, I think, to have guilt kind of show up when it feels like both sides are slipping and you're like, "Oh, I don't know what to do."
Yeah, I know. I mean, on that, like, there's my boss asked me to join an extra meeting. I feel like I can't say no, regardless of how understanding he is. It often, like, I'm like, no, like, this is my job. Of course, I'm going to say yes. But then I can't take Azzy to the park and get her energy out. Whereas, like, before, I maybe could have worked from the park. But of course, like, we have to prioritize work and we have to prioritize the things that, like, make it so that we can do these things for our kids. But is it she's missing out on the park, or am I missing out on 15 minutes of making lunch? Or it just shifts your schedule so much. And I think the first episode, right, I said I'm a type C mom and I'm just learning this, but I have to be a type C. Like, I don't have any option but to flex because these are things. And it's hard for me sometimes to be able to do that. Like, of course, I'm going to jump on this call and then I'm going to try to make it so that I can get her out of the house and do something and like still get work done. And thankfully, my job and, you know, co-managing with you is so flexible that I am able to work an hour later or wake up an hour earlier or, adjust meetings, but it it doesn't make it easier or less guilt to verbalize that, like, I can't do that today. Or Azzy, you're gonna have to wait another hour to do. I mean, she's a toddler. It's like hard to understand. You said we could go to the park.
An hour's forever.
It really is. And then you bring in, why are we doing TV time? How does that make you feel as a parent? Do you feel like you're doing too much TV time? But all that goes in, I think, kind of to the invisible labor of like, I feel like I should be doing all of these things. Um, but it doesn't, yeah. I don't know.
I agree. And I do think it does help that we do have so much flexibility because I'm thinking about maybe work from home moms that don't. And I do think that adds a whole nother layer that we just can't really speak on because we do have room. But I think you made a good point. There's all of that. But I also think about if you're someone who wants to advance your career because, it's like what Hav and
Mhm.
I said, maybe you love your career, you love being a mom, but you also love your job or you love your career. I'm like, it's also hard because sometimes it's hard to say no because you feel like I have to do this or I won't be able to maybe get a promotion,
Mhm.
move up or, whatever it may be. And so I'm like, that I think also adds another layer that it can just be hard because you want to give your all to your job, but then you're like, oh, I feel like I'm now not giving all to my kids because maybe I'm missing out on moments and stuff like that I could be doing with them. Yeah,
Right.
I think it is hard. But I think you made a good point with the type C mom. I think that when it comes to this, it's not so much finding a balance. It's more
Mhm.
finding rhythms that work within the season of life you're in and like times of year. Because obviously, like I know for me, this time of year, as we head into the holidays, my productivity starts dropping. Like I have more family responsibilities. Like things will just look different depending on not only the season of the year, but also the season of life you're in. Obviously, Hav and I's responsibilities, me having, a 1-year-old and Hav having, a 3-year-old. It's just, we're doing things really different in our season. So I
Yeah.
think it is a good time to kind of start setting, real expectations. Like, I know for me, and one thing that kind of helps is like, I like to look at my week and figure out like things I must get done. So like maybe I have important work stuff or important child stuff and it could be appointments, but maybe it's even the fun stuff. Maybe you're like, we are going to the park at this day on this time, that type of things. Maybe it's errands. I even think sometimes like I've let certain cleaning tasks go. And so I'm like, I have to clean the bathroom this week. And I like to put those as a priority and then just kind of being okay with the fact that knowing like things are going to fall off in other areas, but it's okay because things are still getting done. And it's kind of like, it gives you a little permission to be a little less guilt-free because you're busy. We all are, especially like whether you're a working mom or not. Like if you're stay at home, it's like balancing everything. It's a lot. It's a lot and it can be hard and you shouldn't feel like you have to.
Yeah, I think you make a great point that we don't have to find a perfect balance, a balance that works for you, but I don't think it's, like you said, it's not like a 50-50. For you, this season might be a little more relaxed work-wise. For me, this is when everybody at work starts to like heads down. We got things that we have to get done. So my summer with Azzy is going to look a lot more Azzy focused than my winter, which don't get me wrong, she's still going to have lots of activities and stuff, but it definitely is like we have to adjust to the season that we're in and find somewhat of a schedule that works. I have found that now, so that I don't feel guilty later in the day, I try to take her to the park before my work day starts. For me, since I work on the East Coast with most of my people on the West Coast, I'll start the day. And then before my boss logs in and I have more work to do, I take her to the park and we get it done so that by the time my work has needs for me, she's a little more tuckered out. There's, and then I don't feel like, I just let her rot all day. But there's lots of different things. And then some days that doesn't work out because she wakes up and she doesn't want to go to the park. And I think I saw somebody recently who said they're really working on and living in the moment. And like, even though you have something fun planned for your kid, it doesn't mean that we can't adjust and do it another time. I might feel like I did her a disservice by not taking her to the park or a play date in the morning, but maybe she's a little human. Maybe all she wanted to do today was stay at home. So I think there is a point of like not letting yourself get in this strict, my kid needs activities. And for me, that's really hard because Azzy really does need activities. She's so social. Like she really needs to be out of the house. She gets really cooped up.
So extroverted.
She's so extroverted.
Do you have a podcast and a pile of laundry staring you down? Are you questioning your life choices during nap time or working at midnight with one eye open and 3 tabs running?
Yeah, same. We've lived that chaos. Hey, still live in it. That's why we offer podcast editing and post-production services for the moms who have things to say, but zero time to do all the things. Let us help you get your voice out there without losing your mind, your message, or your weekend.
Think less burnout, more snuggles. Less tech stress, more talking to your audience in peace. Interested? Tap the link in the description to learn more. Plus, we offer free discovery calls, no pressure, just real talk to see if we vibe.
Let's make podcasting easier because you're already doing enough. And so I try to get ahead of those needs by doing, like I said, the park in the morning, because by 5 p.m., she's like, I want to go to the park. And then I'm like, well, I just got done working and I need to make dinner. And I get so stuck in my head. But I think it's good to remind ourselves that sometimes it really just is in our heads. Like you said, if there's a cleaning thing that you need to prioritize, go ahead and prioritize that and then give yourself some slack on the laundry or give yourself some slack on, and like, be honest with your clients or your boss. A lot of times I'll ask my boss, like, what's your deadline for this? I try to get my work done as fast as possible, but having a deadline is really helpful because if I need to give myself some grace today, then I know how much time I have to give myself that grace. So yeah, it's a lot of grace. Give yourself grace.
Yeah. And I think you did make a good point. It's like nothing is set in stone. Like, even with these priorities, like you don't even like for me, a lot of times I don't put a certain day. I'm just like, my goal is to get them done by the end of the week, just so
Mhm.
that I know like some things are checked off my list. So I'm like, even if you don't, because I'm like, I'm not a good time blocker because I don't know how, like, I have a hard time knowing how long a task is going to take me.
Mhm.
And so yeah. And so don't feel like you have to have pressure to just do it. Like, oh, I put it on this day. So it's like what Hav said, maybe that day you do need to adjust and that's okay. But I think
Mhm.
it's just important to like keep those at least in the back of your mind for the week so that you do feel like you're still accomplishing things while giving yourself grace and room to flex. Because I mean, being a mom, it's a go with the flow type thing. There's moments where they just don't want to and they're
Yeah.
allowed. Yeah. They're little people. They have feelings and emotions too. So
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. I know after a week of a lot of chaos, having that where I maybe the night before say, okay, these are the things that I absolutely have to get done tomorrow. Like, this is my work meeting. This is the projects that I need to get done, or like the part, and then I can fill in the gaps of times in between. Those are when I'm feeling really chaotic. I usually don't map out the specific times, but sometimes that helps me. That's where the type C comes in, right? Like, sometimes I just need a little more structure after a week of chaos where I feel like I didn't get anything done on my list. Okay, this week I'm gonna work a little harder to, and then in those gaps of times where I might put like, okay, we're gonna do this activity or we're gonna do this for work. If it doesn't happen, we'll flex it till tomorrow. But I think that's a good I like have your checklist. You don't need to have it day or hour written down. If that's helpful for you, absolutely go ahead and do it. But try to what this is like the big coin term that has gotten me through a lot of my corporate like startup jobs. Live in ambiguity, be okay with ambiguity, and learn how to work in ambiguity and flex with it. It's hard, it's really hard, but it does help once you feel okay like adjusting and not being super strict on everything.
yeah. And I will also like to add, if you don't get everything done on your priority list, it's okay. Just move it to the top of the next week. Like I've done that for items for honestly too many weeks we don't want to count. But like obviously you should get it done, but it's okay to sometimes, you just
Hey,
don't it's like yeah.
let me out myself real quick. I still haven't changed my last name with my utilities, some of my credit
It's
holders.
okay, me neither.
Look, but that's something that I was so like dead set, like I need to get it all done. Didn't Nobody's dying. It's okay. They have my social security number. If you are confused who I am, we'll delve that out later, or just like cancel my credit card. But that's like such a privileged thing to say. But to like to be honest, some people will probably hear that and be like, "Ha, that's so bad." But I'm sorry, it's just not on my priority list. It's still on my list. I get reminded of it
Right.
every day. But
Yeah, it's just a reminder because I'm like, it can then, I feel like some people, you start feeling guilty because, you're like, oh, that was a priority. But it's like, yes, we want things to get done, but it happens. Like, just allow a little flexibility, I think.
okay, my bills are paid. That's what matters.
Our bills are paid, everything. Yeah, it's just because, yeah, there's a lot of things. Household chores. Yeah. Yeah.
Trying to
It's just a good
prioritize
reminder.
happiness.
Mhm. I think that was a great kind of segue into just wrapping up. This is just a good reminder that you are not failing. You are carrying two full-time jobs under one roof. And even if you aren't working from home, I'm still like, let's say you're a stay-at-home mom, I still want you to know that you're still working full-time jobs. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, it is a lot. Like, managing a household and managing children is a lot of work. And people that say otherwise, they're not doing it right. So,
Or just not doing it and have absolutely no idea.
yeah. And so it's just progress is more important than perfection. So it's okay to kind of redefine what success looks like for you right now. So if you feel like you are failing at both, we definitely suggest trying to find your rhythm and learn to kind of embrace that flexibility with the season of life that you're in. Hav, do you have any additional wrap up advice?
Yeah, just Do what's best for you and your family.
But
Because I'm like,
seriously.
some people do need more structure. And if you, some
Mhm.
people, right, they have the
I
sensory
agree.
bins set up for their kids in the morning and they have activities planned out for every day so that they don't have to think about it. So just do what's best for your family and what's best for you. Like I will say
Yes.
every episode.
Yeah, and we might need to do an episode on that sometime because I've tried the rotational toys and stuff, and it wasn't really my cup of tea, but maybe we'll actually, this is super side note, maybe we'll bring someone on that's really good at it because I think it'd be kind of fun. But anyway,
I would
super
love
off
that.
topic.
Please
I
teach
just
me.
So if you're someone who loves sensory bins or rotation toys, hit us up. We want to talk to you.
I just want, no, but really though, because it's the setup for me. It's the getting, like going to the store and knowing what everything helps out.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I want an expert. But anyway, with that, stay tuned for our next episode. We are going to be covering the opposite of what we talked about a few weeks ago, which is what it kind of feels like to be the parent that leaves instead of being home 24/7 with the kids. And we will be featuring our first guests, our husbands. So stay tuned for that. That will be interesting. I'm sure of it.
I'm so curious to see what they have.
So we'll chat then. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for sharing your time with us today. We're so glad you're part of this messy, beautiful village.
If this episode made you laugh, cry, or feel just a little more human, pass it on to a mom friend who needs it too. And hey, if you haven't already, hit subscribe and leave us a review. It helps more moms find the show and gives us a tiny dopamine hit. Let's be real.
Until next week, keep the kids alive and your coffee hot, or at least reheated once.